Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Again, this is Alan Duncan, your communication director, and I'm so proud to have our IBOs all over the country and world joining us. I'm going to hand this over to our wonderful CEO, Milan. And if you want to continue getting shout outs, go ahead. Welcome, India. So glad to have you in the house. Omega Pro. Take it away, Milan.
Hi, all together. Maybe we wait a few minutes, as every time, to be sure that everybody joining the call. Oh, there's somebody from Omega Pro, India. Okay. Jeff is smiling.
We lost Alex. He's coming back, I guess.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hi, David. Here's Alex again. So put him in. And also the ambassadors, in this case, Darren and maybe also David, to be in a... Everybody can see them. It's a diamond. And Darren. And Alex.
Hey, David. Welcome.
So great.
Hey, David. Hello, Alex.
So nice. Then let's start to talk a little bit about our trading. Let me introduce you. So in this case, everybody of you know Alan and Jeff, and David and Darren. David, our diamond from UK, and Darren, our ambassador. And Alex Morrison, let me introduce Alex Morrison. Alex Morrison is our main trader, one of two. The other guy is not able today because he was flying the whole day, and now he's tired. He'll be next week on a call, so you you can see them all together. Now it's Alex. Alex will talk a little bit about the trading. It's the leader of the multi-trading in Cyprus, and how he trades, what he's doing. It's in this case a short call. Let's make a few questions and answers. That's the weekly call we scheduled now for the next 4 weeks. Okay, gentlemen, let's start. Alex, my friend, you can start to talk. Oh, no, you are mute. You are mute.
Everybody hear me good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
Got you now.
first of all, let me start by saying thank you to everyone, and of course Milan and your partners. Thank you for making this possible. We're very, very excited to get you guys on board as well, and I think we'll have quite a fruitful relationship. I can describe in a few things who I am and what I do, and then if you guys have a few questions, I wouldn't mind answering them. Well, for starters, I'm a hedge fund owner. I specialize in commodities. I trade supply and demand imbalance, which is a microeconomical model of price determination, which is used by most banks and institutions and hedge funds. It's exactly what I do in my hedge fund. The only difference is what we do in the hedge fund and what we do in the MLM project is that in the hedge fund, of course, we stay hedged at any moment in time. We sell gold, silver, platinum commodities, and we buy the physical on the physical market. What we're doing with the MLM project, of course, we need two things. We require volume in order for the IBs and the introducing broker, the partners, for them to get paid, and of course, we require profits for the client. So what Game Pips decided, basically, I was brought on board to input the analysis on supply and demand imbalance in a short, slightly longer term perspective. As we combine with the previous trader that Milan mentioned, Stefanos was on call last week. Last week I was flying out, and this week he's in Belgium. He's actually coming tonight. So next week we'll both be in the call. But to continue my point, as I said, what we do is we combine institutional trading techniques like supply and demand imbalance together with more of a high frequency day trading kind of a technique, which Stefanos is in charge of, which pretty much generates the volumes in trading for the commissions themselves. So the IB is taken care of, and of course the most important thing, the client makes the profit on a monthly basis as well. And that's actually in a nutshell. Of course, if you guys require more specific details about certain things, I'm more than yours.
Hi, Alex. It's Darren Matadine here. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good. How are you?
Good. I really am honored that, you know, you're appearing on the call, and it was such a great meeting about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a great meeting.
Yeah, me, David, in particular, with Ray, who's also a fantastic leader, who's in Omnia. We were so happy and enthusiastic that we have such fantastic partners. And I don't know how Milan managed to find such great partners, because of what you guys are doing is really incredible, and actually it's a breath of fresh air of how.
To be fair, Dennis, there've been a lot of new stuff as well implementing since our last meeting. So
That's
we'll
good.
have in regards to the software that we're using, we are closing. Well, we just finished the meeting today. We're closing an amazing deal with another software provider, which will give us even more possibilities when taking advantage of the markets. We'll be able to introduce even more strategies into the whole perspective. So from that side of things, we can really comfortably diversify the portfolio. Of course, in investments, the most important factor is diversification. And of course, like Albert Einstein was saying, compounded interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So we're also looking into compounding the interest as well, of course, depending on the client's needs. Yeah. But I think the next meeting, you guys will really like the surprises we have in regards to the software, back office systems, and how you guys keep track of the things that are happening. Like we discussed, transparency is key. As you already know from the meeting, we are extremely transparent. Each client has access to their own account. They can pull their own reports upon their convenience without requesting anything. So that's actually something that we wanted to make sure from the beginning. So each client, they can advertise their own account. They can take their link and show it out there. So it's not just something that they say, but it's something that they can back up with actual proof itself. So yeah, it was really, really exciting times.
That's good. So last week, part one was to reassure everybody was how safe the funds were, and that was really described really well. And we were at a very high level how risk management is really done. What we want for part two is basically just to go one more level under. And what does it mean by diversification? How does that help us to have that extra profit? What are the things that you are looking at on a day-to-day basis so that we are managing that risk and that diversification? And also basically, what do you see in terms of the future, where basically, Bitcoin is becoming more of a stronger instrument now than ever before. And what that means that the pie chart that we have in our presentation, where it's like 20% of the multi-trade is related to Bitcoin, do we actually increase that going forwards? These are some
I strongly believe that, yeah. First, there's diversification. As you know, we were offering a lot of trading opportunities based on foreign exchange pairs, crypto pairs as well, but the CFDs. And that's pretty much it. What we'll be able to do in order for us to get access, because you see sometimes the market does move on the foreign exchange, or sometimes it's a ranging market in which not a lot of opportunities are being presented. But other markets, such as, for example, indices or equities market and so on, they give us opportunities in that particular day. In regards to the systems that we were using before, we weren't able to receive such a big array of instruments. In total, it was about 80 instruments. I can happily say that now we're going to have over 400 different instruments that we can pick and choose from. So if there's not an opportunity happening within a certain period of time on the cryptocurrency exchange market or on a foreign exchange market, we could definitely switch into an index or even a bond or even an equity from the States or the UK or Germany and so on and so forth. So what that's going to give us is, let's say we won't have stagnation days in which, as you know, guys, from our history as well, we unless something's happening on the market, we obviously do not trade. There's no point placing certain trends when there's no clear movement, and that's what we wanted to diversify. So to open our portfolio and add as many assets as possible in order for us to as I said, take advantage of situations, even when the foreign exchange doesn't give you something. As I said, maybe an equity will give you a couple of hundred pips for that particular day. So what changes is the fact that we won't be choosing from 80 something assets. We'll be choosing from 400 plus. So that's going to be great. For the second part of the question in regards to the cryptos, I have to admit there are, of course, I'm not going to give a trading signal here, but it is a very big 2020 in regards to the new election. Yeah, it'll be a tremendously big year. I'm looking at the equity, the indices markets in regards to the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and so on. We see a very, very, very similar scenario. Fortunately for some, and like us, or unfortunately for others, we see the same exact scenario as we saw back in 2007 and 2008, in which I have to admit, in all my trading career, 2008 and 2009 were by far the most profitable years of my career, simply because when there's recession and when there's financial crises happen, of course, that's when the biggest money-making opportunities occur. And to continue my point, I strongly believe that 2020 will have a huge impact on the American indices and the American economy in itself. So long story short, gold, silver, of course, precious metals, yeah, commodities, and most importantly, cryptos, probably Bitcoin, they will, of course, according to that, if that's if that's a fact and that does indeed happen, then of course there will be raising in appreciating in value from a, let's say, a safe haven perspective. We can't really call Bitcoin a safe haven because in the end of the day, it is not. But we could understand that it does act as a safe haven asset does, like gold, for example, within market turmoil. And if I'm right, and it's 2020, we'll have this market turmoil that we're expecting, I strongly believe humongous appreciation in both commodities market, precious metals, and cryptocurrencies. So we should be getting, of course, that happening. We should be getting many more trades related to cryptos as well and commodities rather than foreign exchange pairs and some equities and indices. So I'm looking very, very positively to 2020 to come.
That's great. So what would you advise Milan to do in order for us as members to capitalize on what you just said?
Very simple. As many deposits as possible before how should I put, before Trump does his thing. I'm not going to comment on that, but just a very simple example. We have a lot of my old colleagues from the banking world as well. I keep in touch with them. There were a lot of oil positions open on the market to the upside, as we clearly know. Oil's been going up for quite some time now, so on and so forth. And I'll give you a very simple example of how Trump does business. A few days ago, they released the announcement that he's lifting the sanctions on Iran, on the oil ban of Iran, right? In a logical world, and in a world that logic actually does have something to do with investments. Of course, lifting the sanctions, that would, of course, imply that Iran is going to be pumping up more oil. Of course, that would increase supply and, of course, decrease demand. According to the core rules of price determination in any market, if supply increases and demand decreases, of course, the market will be suffering a drop of that particular asset. And that's exactly what happened. They actually released the news. Everybody was buying. As soon as Trump came out, we look at oil today, actually was one of our most profitable trades. And that is the bottom line. So the point is, before these things happen on the American indices, which I have to admit right now they are at the highest high in the last 6 months. We're looking at S&P 500, NASDAQ, and so on and so forth. Roughly in 2008, when they hit their highest highs, within the next month and a half, we actually had the market collapse. So they hit highest highs in around, if I'm not mistaken, around October, November of 2007. Within the next 2 months, market took a little bit of a high as well. And then, as we know, we all witnessed that huge market drop. I personally am looking at kind of the same exact scenario from a candlestick perspective, and the way the charts are looking, it is a mirror image of what I was seeing in 2007 and 2008. But of course, from a fundamental perspective, so from a geopolitical perspective, we of course require certain confirmations. And I think that the election of 2020 will be giving us something of some sort, of that sort. So my best advice would be, in order for us to, of course, take advantage of these moves, make sure that we raise capital throughout 2019, of course, making our target 10, 15, 16, whatever we'll make on a monthly basis. And then looking forward for 2020 when hopefully we'll be making tremendous results, which couldn't compare to 2019. I mean, you guys you've seen the performance that we had 17, 18 as well. You saw certain months are a little bit less, maybe 6, 7, sometimes 10%, and you saw other months that we hit 30%, even 40%. That's simply those are months in which the market simply give us opportunities to trade upon, and this was our main goal, to bring as many assets as possible. Once this thing happens, we want to be able to diversify ourselves. I'll give you an example. Instead of just buying gold and buying cryptos, I'd rather buy gold, buy cryptos, sell equities, sell indices. So I would have an array of positions open which agree with that particular piece of information that we receive, in order for us to be able to take advantage of different opportunities onto the market, rather than placing just one trade, let's say on the Bitcoin, and just waiting for it to go. I would like to focus on 4, 5, 6, 10 different assets when it gets to that particular point.
That's great, Alex. Thank you very much. There's one question from George Boyle from Malta. I don't understand it completely, but maybe you, Fed Reserve crash fiat affecting this?
Give me a... can I read that question somewhere?
Yes, in the chat.
Give me a second. Let me see. What was the question from?
Very last one, George Boyle.
George Boyle. It's the last question.
There we go. So are we expecting same result in BTC, or will the power of the blockchain prevent this in 2020? I would look at it as a positive thing. I personally, I have to admit, I wasn't from the beginning. I wasn't sold on Bitcoin. I was actually one of those guys that you would see on Bloomberg talking major negative stuff about it, right? But nonetheless, what I really, really love about it is the actual technology behind it, of course, which is the blockchain. And that is because of that particular technology. I think we heard JP Morgan, they're doing their own crypto as well, as an attempt to hit the Bitcoin market, in a sense. I actually strongly believe that the blockchain will positively impact this particular move, rather than negatively impacting it. Because one, we are in a decentralized market. So whoever, unfortunately, if anybody was involved in the crisis of 2008, throughout 07, 08, 09, cash was king. And it's very, very hard to have cash being king in a moment of crisis, simply because, as you clearly see, the banking system and the world that we live in, they attempt more and more to create this cashless society, right? For them to have power and to see every little single thing that we spend, where it comes from, where it's going, and so on and so forth. So because of that, and because we're dealing with a decentralized market, I strongly believe that if this crisis does hit, and it's a matter of time before it does, remember that 7-year cycle, we already passed that 7-year cycle, so we're already really stretching ourselves here. I strongly believe that a lot of investors will put money into cryptos and in blockchain technology as itself. If we want to just think of, remember the gold rush, yeah, the actual gold rush itself. The biggest bucks that were made in the gold rush were in the people that were going digging for the gold. In other words, the miners, right? They were the people selling the Levi's jeans. Levi's made the biggest money in the gold rush. So that would be the people that actually look into the technology itself, and they're selling, of course, the mines further. But that's a totally different investment. In regards to where the market's going throughout 2020, 2021, you're looking at investments in blockchain technologies. They will definitely appreciate tremendously. Artificial intelligence is the next big thing. 2020, 2021. This is the best thing that I can give you guys and as an advice. And of course, virtual VR, virtual reality. These three things are the next big. You have your .coms, you have your real estate bubbles, and so on and so forth. Right now, we find ourselves in an everything bubble. And when this bubble pops, obviously people will need to, let's say, deposit or transfer their funds from the assets that are losing into something that's appreciating. And as I said before, I strongly believe AI, blockchain, commodities, they will strongly appreciate in value throughout 2020, 2021. If things stay keep on track, of course.
Thank you, Alex. There's one question from Andy from Belgium. Hi, Alex. What is your prediction what Bitcoin will hit in 2020? I think, Andy, nobody knows this. We hope all that Bitcoin goes up to 20 or 50K, but we definitely don't know this. Nobody knows this.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we can't put a value on things. And I never, as an investor, I know one of the most common mistakes that investors make in general, regardless of what they're investing. They may invest in a 2-bedroom apartment to buy and to yield it to rent it for 5 years and get yearly yield, and so on and so forth. One of the main questions that the investors ask me whenever I close a project is, how much money will I make? And that is by far the worst question that they can look at, regardless of the investment. As I said before, the best first question that you ask as an investor when you come in is, okay, what is the risk of this particular project, and what is the maximal drawdown that I can personally achieve? What is from an X amount of money, how much can I maximally lose if I am about to invest in it? And then based on that particular risk, which of course has to coincide with your risk appetite as a client, then you make risk reward ratios. So just to answer your question, my own risk reward ratios from the moment that I purchase an asset is minimum 3 to 5 times the value. So if I make 3 times the value from when I bought, I'm okay. Of course, depending on the risk money management ratios that we structure, that we implement, that trade will still continue. It may make a 7-to-1 target, an 8 or 9, and so on. But once it hits a 3-to-1 value, so let's say Bitcoin's now 5.5 grand, the way I would look into, let's say if I purchase Bitcoin now and it does continue to go up, I would be closing or partially closing my position when it hits around 15 and a half. So at least 3-to-1 from the value. And if that's the case, then throughout 2020, 2021, on a minimum, if it does continue to go and this inevitable financial crisis hits, if it'll hit in 2020 or 2021, no one knows. But I'm just talking about how the market is reacting right now and what we see on the charts. And what we see on the charts is that throughout 2020, 2021, we should see this financial crisis. And in that case, if it does happen to, if that's the case, then at least the 3-to-1 target would pretty much bring Bitcoin to 15 and a half. But that's just based on an assumption.
Thanks, Alex. There's some question if Brexit delays impending. Okay.
Brexit delays. Well, Teresa just came out 2 days ago, and she wants to have a vote if they should have another vote. Right. As we clearly understand what's happening with Brexit right now, and we know that it's a very, it's a longing process, obviously. Bottom line remains, if they vote to have another referendum, that would be not disastrous for us, because we don't really care what the market's moving. If it's up or down, we get entries and we either buy the asset or sell the asset. But if this does happen, all this big, hurrah thing that happened throughout the last couple of years, unfortunately, is going to go down the drain, because if they do have a second referendum, then there is no way England will vote to leave. So from that perspective, I strongly doubt that this new vote will do anything. The only thing that it does, it's a clear delay. And long story short is that you cannot have a no deal. End of the story. That's simply impossible. A deal will have to be achieved. It's just that I don't think it's just around the corner. But again, if they see that a deal doesn't actually get voted through the European Parliament, and they do make another vote in regards to another vote, then forget about it. They will vote to stay, and everything that happened, as I said, throughout the last 2 years is pretty much in vain market manipulation, or call it whatever you want. I'm sure the Rothschilds made a lot of cash on it, nonetheless.
Thank you, Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex is normally booked for maximum 20 minutes. Now we are 25 minutes in a call. If anybody have a question to Alex or traders, please ask it now, so we can say thank you to Alex, and he can go to the work now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate for having me on board, guys. All the best.
Alex, it's David Hunt. I just want to say, from coming out just over a week ago, firstly, a huge thank you to Milan for inviting us out and making it so possible. But having you on this call and listening to the information and how knowledgeable you are, honestly, puts me in such a comfortable position to be able to tell people about Omnia, to be able
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
About the partnership. And I see so many names on this call now, and it's phenomenal for these people to get exposed to you, because I know how important it is to them, but also how busy you guys are. And to come up with this partnership, it is revolutionary for us.
It's marvelous.
And this is really, in my opinion, just the beginning. We're going to be seeing a lot more on the calls coming forward, and that's largely down to the tools that you put on for us. So thank you, bro, for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex.
Great. Thank you, Alex.
All the best, guys. Thank you much.
Have a nice evening. We'll see you in
You
2 weeks
too.
in Cyprus.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Bye-bye.
Greetings to all. Bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the call with our traders. We will repeat this every Wednesday the next 2 weeks. So you get confidence, you get informations, and we need to find a solution, maybe Jeff, to translate this, or somebody who can translate this in Spanish also, to make this for the Spanish teams. I saw the message now in Espanol, but in a moment it's not easy. You know, you see how fast Alex is talking, and it will be difficult to translate this simultaneously. But we will try this and make a call for our Spanish community, and maybe one also for our Korean and Japanese community. It can be done by Bona and Yashu, right?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, thank you all to be on a call. Have a nice evening, have a nice day, and see you soon all together. And latest maybe next week on Wednesday to the next call with our traders, Alex and what's the other one?
Stefanos.
Stefanos, right? Stefanos. I'm sorry, I forget his name every time. I'm sorry. Okay, great. Have a nice day all together.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a call
Cheers, guys.
tonight. Yeah. 1.5 hours time.
Yeah, right. 1.5 hours time. You can repeat it, Darren, please.
Yeah, so we have a very, very, very special corporate presentation. Actually, it's going to be the most detailed presentation ever to actually understand what Alex does and how it's benefiting us. And for the goodness of Milan and the corporate team, they have set a special promotion, especially for the IBOs whose Bitcoins was frozen in 2018. It's a special promotion to really, really, really reborn and kickstart our business. And I'm looking forward to present that in an hour and a half's time with all of you, and actually learn together of the new information that we're going to be having today as well. I'm looking forward for it, and I look forward to see you all very soon.
Absolutely. Darren will be the host and Jeff together. And yeah, stay tuned. It's a nice promotion, I think so.
Yeah, thank you.
Great all together. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And